Here are some simple rules we can all live by. Keep that inner child alive and don't be ashamed of it. Try to find a friend that'll happily do dumb and goofy things with you. And if you ever feel as though you're not equipped for this harsh world we all live in, then just remember, none of us are, but we still keep going. Why? Because you don't need a license to drive a sandwich. This is a SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
Feast your eyes, Patrick. Close up of them all wrinkled. We should. I'm going to say that one more time because I cursed and it's too soon. Or wait, no! Actually, we can keep this because the algorithm changed. We can actually curse.
And this is all staying in, by the way. We're keeping this in.
We're keeping all this.
Wow. See, only here you can get the raw versions of us. Well, this is a very special podcast. I called you very randomly one night and was like, "Hey man, we should do this movie." And you were like, "Okay, it might not do that well." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, but we should really do this movie."
Yeah, so we're willing to bypass, because normally this channel like fucking slaughters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
And so I think this is one of those cases where we're like, oh, you know what? I'm willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for views. I get views. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ.
For anyone that didn't understand that reference, don't worry. We'll just move past it. But
yeah,
I don't feel like explaining it.
I really don't want to get into it, but that was good, and I appreciate that. Welcome to Movies That Changed Us. I'm Altaf.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're going to be talking about how the SpongeBob SquarePants movie changed us. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or wherever you listen to our podcast, know that you can also watch us on YouTube at Movies That Changed Us.
And we do have a Patreon, guys. If anyone likes the show and wants to support, you can go to patreon.com/movies that changed us, where you can get early access to podcasts, ad-free podcasts, and our exclusive bonus show called Movies That Played Us, where Altaf and I make exclusive bonus games for each other that are movie-based, and usually we do some sort of, guess the movie blank. We've done, Altaf's waiting for, he's looking eagerly. We've done guess the movie beard, and we've done guess the movie by its bad description. And this most recently, we already shot it, is guess the movie explosion. I made it for Altaf. It was a really fun time. It's kind of what it sounds like. I cropped in on different explosions from different movies, and Altaf had to guess what movie they were from.
Wait. Is this Zoolander? No. I saw the car. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, it's a fun hang. We also, because we did a podcast with TBR Schmidt on the Iron Giant recently, I just want to shout out that we did a Movies That Played Us episode with them as well. It was called Guess the Baby. It was tons of fun. So I'm just going to throw that one out there as well.
Yeah, and it wasn't Guess the Movie Baby. It was just random babies we got pictures of, and they had to guess who they were.
No, they were from movies. I'm not just taking pictures of babies, Chris. We can't be putting that shit out there, man. With all the stuff that I make up about you all the time. I also, I'm just going to plug it again. If you want to know TBR Schmidt, the Great Reaction Channel, if you want to know their thoughts on the Avatar franchise, specifically James Cameron's Avatar franchise, go check out the Iron Giant episode.
Oh, were you trying to distinguish it from like Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, for a second I was like, do other directors helm the project now?
Well, yes, of course, John Woo is doing the fourth one, and yeah. Well, Chris, every episode we ask each other what art moved us that week. So what art moved you this week?
Well, a couple things. I've been playing a lot of new video games, actually. Like, I've been playing probably 4 different single player games, switching off between. I don't know why. I've just been an absolute ADHD video game maniac. Right now I am switching between Metal Gear Solid 5, Dead Rising, the first one, Ghost of Tsushima, and I also recently installed, what was it called? Oh, Days Gone. Do you know Days Gone?
No.
It's a zombie open world game, and you ride around in a motorcycle, and hordes of zombies chase you. That's pretty much that's it.
And out of that selection, which one really stood out to you this past week?
I will say probably in terms of appreciation in intensity and game design, probably the first Dead Rising. So, just because like it still holds up in terms of tension, because the game, for those who don't know, the game is basically you're a dude trapped in a mall full of zombies and anything can be used as a weapon. And for a game that's so built around... Is it
inspired by Dawn of the Dead?
And basically...
Is it? I don't... Sorry. I'm sorry.
And basically anything can be used as a weapon. And the thing that's interesting about it is through all the mayhem of it, the game actually has a very rigid setup where you have a limited amount of time to do each mission, and it throws a lot of missions at you. So you have to be kind of selective over where in the mall you want to travel to, and if you want to do stuff in time or save people in time. And on top of that, the save system is actually surprisingly punishing too, because you can basically only save it either at your headquarters or in a bathroom you find in the mall. So if you're traveling from one part of the mall to the other and you happen to die, you have to respawn all the way back. So every time you go from one part to another to do a mission, it's kind of a fight for your life. You really like are desperate and you feel that stress because you actually do have motivation to survive, because you know you won't get a good save otherwise. So yeah, like I said, it holds up very well for I think it's like a nearly 20-year-old game at this point.
Do you like it more than the second one? Or did the second one ever come out? Because I remember at one point you were showing me the trailer to the sequel, which was that what was that the one where the guy was running and like his skin was like coming off?
No, that's Dead Island you're thinking of.
Okay,
that was Dead Island too.
So I'm thinking of a different one, but
yeah. They did make several sequels. They made 4 of them, including like little spin-offs. But 4 was kind of the one that killed the franchise because it sucked, to summarize it quickly. Yeah. What about you? What art moved you this week?
We didn't record an episode last week, so I do have some stuff to catch you up on. I mean, I'm not going to talk in detail about it, but I saw Jaws in 35 millimeter. It was great. It's Jaws.
I feel like because you went and saw Jaws, I think a year ago or something like that, right?
Yeah. It's because it re-releases almost every summer in LA. So
gotcha. Yeah. Because I can't remember if you brought it up on the show that you went and saw it too. Funny enough. So I don't know if anyone's caught up on the movies. I might have
like when we did our podcast,
let us know.
When we did our podcast on Jaws, I probably did bring that up.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah, that's true.
So it's just like, listen to that podcast. It was a similar experience, but I saw it on film for the first time at the Vista, which is another theater that Tarantino like bought out in LA. And they do great things over there. And it's just some fun movie to see with a crowd. And then I want to talk about this show that I watched the first episode of last night called Task. It's on HBO. Max. You can watch it on HBO Max, but it stars Mark Ruffalo and another actor who I'm not familiar with, but it's a two-hander where Mark Ruffalo he's an FBI agent who in the first episode is revealed he's gone through some like family tragedy with his children that like they haven't fully revealed yet. And so he's like someone that's not a field agent anymore, but he's brought back into being a field agent and told to put together a task force to find a group of robbers that have been robbing stash houses, like drug stash houses around the city. And it'll cut back from Mark Ruffalo, who is this kind of washed up, depressed, like FBI agent, to the people like the guy that's robbing these houses. And the show cares about both of them equally. And it's kind of like Heat, where it's just like going back and forth from like the robber to the cop. And it's a show that like it's coming out. The first episode came out this past Sunday as I'm recording it. So by the time this comes up, the second episode's probably out. It's coming out on a weekly basis. What's so cool about it is that it feels like a classic HBO show. Where it's just this crime drama with great character actors and just you care about everyone so much. Like the writing is so incredibly strong where you like, it feels like everyone's lived a life before I was introduced to them.
Okay.
And there's like a 3 to 5 second shot with Mark Ruffalo in the first episode where he talks to his daughter. His daughter's like, okay, Dad, I have to go back to work. And then he's sitting there, and it's like a 3 second shot where like Mark Ruffalo conveys so much, and me I was out loud saying, oh my God. Like, and it's like nothing. The podcast that I was listening to, The Watch, was talking about how this is like what HBO does really well, which is like great crime dramas that get you like, that make you feel like you're living with those characters, you know?
Yeah. And a great adult, TV too,
Yeah, man. It's apparently just a mini series. So it's gonna like, it's not, highly recommend people watch it if they haven't heard of it, or maybe like if they haven't seen by the time this episode comes out, there's probably the second episode has already been released, so you can watch the first two. But
okay, cool.
I want to recommend it to you, Chris, and also our listeners.
Hell yeah. All right, thank you for that.
And now for a completely different tone. Chris, this is a very this is very special to us. Not just this movie, but just what this movie is spawned from, this character, this era of TV specifically. So we're going to be talking broad, but specifically, how did the SpongeBob SquarePants movie change you?
This movie is very, very special to me for multiple reasons, like you said. In quick words, I am a big fan of SpongeBob. Grew up. I'm very, very fond of it. I'm one of those guys that can quote virtually any part of it, of the whole show. Not the whole show, the first couple seasons. But I saw this movie I was very hyped to see it, for one thing. I was probably like 9 or 10 years old. And I saw it with my cousin and my grandma. My grandma was also a huge fan of SpongeBob, and my cousin was a huge fan of SpongeBob. And our grandma would take us to Blockbuster and rent us SpongeBob DVDs when we'd visit and stay over at her house, me and my cousin together. And we'd watch it and just watch episodes and just binge the show on DVD. So all of us went and saw it. And I mean, in the theater, man, like what you would imagine, the whole time we were cracking up. My grandma was dying laughing at stuff that I didn't get. Obviously, like I didn't know who David Hasselhoff was or understand the significance, but it still had like that, that punch that's just so good for both adults and kids. And the SpongeBob movie in itself, just to kind of wrap up my thoughts, watching it again as an adult, it holds up in the sense that like it has everything that we like about SpongeBob for those who enjoy it. Like it has all the kid and adult humor, and it has the same themes. It has everything you love about the characters. The animation is stronger. It has just pretty much everything you like about SpongeBob wrapped up in an hour and a half. If you wanted to prove to someone, like why SpongeBob is good, just have them watch the movie.
I mean, an hour and 18. Like it's, if you're not counting the end credits, it's an hour and 18.
Yeah, it's a powerful, efficient movie.
Yeah, I didn't see this movie in theaters, which is like, it sucks. I wish I had that memory. But like you, SpongeBob was a huge show for me. It was just like it was like one of the first like children TV shows that I remember. I know I watched Blue's Clues as a kid and I watched Barney as a kid, but I don't remember the experience of watching that, if that makes sense. Like my dad told me I watched a lot of Barney. Like I don't really remember. But I remember SpongeBob, and I remember like my friends and I quoting SpongeBob to each other. And the SpongeBob movie, I don't even remember the first time I saw it. Like I don't have like a specific memory like that. But it was just like I saw it on TV. I had to have seen it on TV, and then I watched it over and over again. But it was like mixed with all the rest of SpongeBob. And so as I've grown older, the special thing about this movie is a lot of people, Chris, in our generation, like we share this bond with this movie and we quote it, but we also kind of, I feel like everyone that is our age specifically, like a lot of like younger millennials will just be like, that's the SpongeBob movie, right? Like it's really good. Like
yeah, while you can all sing the Goofy Goober theme song together too,
Exactly. And it's I think it's just one of those movies that, for me, when I was watching it the other night, I think I had that experience that you have when you watch Toy Story, Chris, where it's just like, oh, these are my friends. Like, these are SpongeBob and Patrick. I see them, and Squidward even, and Mr. Krabs. And it's like, oh, these are my guys that I grew up with,
Yeah.
We'll talk. I think I really want to talk a lot about like this era of television and what it meant to us, like Nickelodeon specifically, but SpongeBob as a cartoon, man, for me, to go even broader, was like this. I was, even as a kid, blown away by the things that they were able to pull off. Like a live action gorilla coming in and then them being called out and them being like, shit, we gotta go. They called us out. And so moments like that where I was, even as a kid, I was like, are you fucking allowed to do that? Like, what the hell? Like breaking the form in a way.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, there's an episode straight up where they think they killed the health inspector and they go to bury his body in a cemetery.
I know.
Like, and they're like trying to hide it from cops. Like, it becomes a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, no, it's literally Rope. Like, I watched Rope recently, and Rope is about these two guys who could like kill someone for fun, and then invite everyone over to a party at their place where the body's hidden as like a game, and then Jimmy Stewart arrives and sniffs out something's going wrong.
Okay.
So when you say it's a Hitchcock movie, it's literally like, I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Hillenburg was like, let's do a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah. I think one thing I also love about SpongeBob in general too, and this includes the movie because the movie fully embraces this too, is the always like this kind of ye old sailor pirate atmosphere it always creates for it. You know what I mean? In the classic, like the music is always using this very tropical kind of, I don't know the name of the genre, but the kind of the sea shanty kind of vibe of it.
Yeah.
And even between like SpongeBob like special episodes, you know, when they did the SpongeBob Christmas special, etc., they had like Tom Kenny in a pirate suit. Remember that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, yeah, when he'd be Patchy the pirate with this little mechanical puppet carrot on his shoulder.
And he'd be by like in a rocking chair by a fireplace. Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll be like, you know, hello kids here, whatever he would say. But they embrace it very much in this movie. And same deal. I remember distinctly when I was a kid seeing it that it opens in live action. And I was like, oh shit, they're going hard. Like we're in for something.
Well, not only that, dude, you probably felt it in the theater. But the fact that they start singing the theme song, and it's a full musical number, and then they're like flipping the cards, and then you see SpongeBob SquarePants and letters. Like watching this as an adult who can appreciate the filmmaking behind it, I just can't believe how good it looks.
Yeah, I know. I never thought I'd see it with my own eye.
Tickets to the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. I mean, you know what else like really kind of made me teary-eyed a little bit? Was when the pirates ransack the movie theater and you see like the theater packed and everyone's like, oh yeah, because this is like when a movie like this comes out, people go to the movie theater to go see it. Because it's like now that just wouldn't like that. The theater wouldn't be that. It would actually be kind of unrealistic if a movie theater was that packed. Like,
I mean, maybe a kids movie, maybe. I don't know. Kids movies, you know, like when you got Minecraft movie and those ones coming out, you know, they get pretty packed.
But just like, I don't know, just the era of like, well, of course, this is the pirates have to go to a movie theater to go see this. You know?
Yeah, 100%. And they use them as like kind of a story guide, how they come back later when the emotional climax hits.
Well, so I thought they came back more often, but the moment they come out is when you think like at least the movie's trying to fake SpongeBob and Patrick death.
Yeah.
And then it comes back and they're all like just sobbing. And it's a brilliant way for the movie to like, because if kids are watching this, right, you don't want kids to be horrified like they would with E.T. when E.T. dies.
Yeah.
And so right when SpongeBob and Patrick like just kind of fade away from their cartoon cells, the movie immediately pulls back into the movie theater and you see pirates crying, which is kind of like for kids a fun thing to see.
100%. Yeah. It makes sure to kind of lessen the blow a little bit for you. Yeah, man. I mean, there's a couple movies throughout my childhood, and I'm sure you can agree with you, or you'll agree with this, that just bring me so much joy in the sense of as soon as it's mentioned, I start giggling. I have like a certain list of movies that do that for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
List them off for me.
Good Burger is one of them for me.
Sure.
There's some of them are not kids movies for me. Some of them are like, you know, like Daddy's Home. I start giggling. That's a stupid ass movie, but it makes me laugh. And there's another one that you must know. I'm pretty sure you know these ones.
Yeah, you're asking me.
You're better at it than I am, remembering them off the top of your head.
Napoleon Dynamite is one for you.
Yes, absolutely. So, and this is definitely in that list, and I hadn't seen this movie in a long time, but same deal. I have like a big stupid smile on my face every time it comes on. You know, as soon as those pirates are pulling in, like you said, just ransacking the theater, just spilling everywhere, making a mess. I'm like, yay, this movie's about to start.
I know, it's such an announcement. It's like, we're here, like we're doing it. It's very exciting. And I mean, God, the way this movie opens with like, he ordered a Krabby Patty and there was no cheese. And SpongeBob comes in and he's like, take it easy, Mr. Krabs.
He comes in like a flaming car and he's wearing boots when he comes out. And my favorite little detail as well, like Mr. Krabs is informing him about everything, how SpongeBob is like blowing bubbles like it's supposed to be like a cigarette.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the thing about this SpongeBob that I kind of forgot about until I rewatched this movie, is that in a very Naked Gun type of way, it's so dense with jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, obviously this era of SpongeBob, good jokes, but it's like constantly throwing stuff at you, right? And it's interesting because when SpongeBob was coming out, a lot of kids were watching it. There were some parents that wouldn't let their kids watch SpongeBob because it was like too fast paced, and now I look back at that and I'm like, oh, look at all you parents now giving your kids iPhones. But like,
yeah, and I think like, and this is also doesn't help when it comes to iPhones, but like, I remember there were parents that thought it was too edgy too. Like, it did make pretty raunchy jokes for kids at the time. But again, though, giving kids iPhones does not help. They're going to come across even way worse stuff that SpongeBob throws at you.
And that's always been the case, right? But yeah, I think with Nickelodeon, when I was a kid, I was movies where I watched more Indian movies growing up, just because my parents were Indian and that's what they were watching at home all the time. And even going to the movie theater, it was mostly watching Indian movies in the movie theater, and American movies, I was watching them at home. But my point is, I grew up like watching way more TV as a kid, like watching so much. And Nickelodeon was a big part of that. I mean, my big shows, like Fairly Odd Parents was a huge show for me. Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron. Like, what were some of your big shows?
Definitely same here. Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron. I like Cartoon Network too. I love Dexter's Lab. I still get a kick out of Johnny Bravo. And I also get a kick out of Ed, Edd and Eddy too. I know that one. Some parents didn't like that show, but I think I will go to bat for Ed, Edd and Eddy. That show is still really funny and has a unique animation style. Like, I think it still holds up. Courage the Cowardly Dog too. Like, kind of the whole list of those like early aughts shows I loved.
I was definitely way more of a Nickelodeon kid than a Cartoon Network kid. But
fair enough, yeah.
But I did watch like I watched Dexter's Laboratory. I watched Foster's Home for Imaginary Kids. Friends. I watched My Life as a Teenage Robot. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm. I do remember that one.
Yeah, and but SpongeBob specifically, I felt like invited so much of like imagination for me. For instance, like it helped me, like it made me want to make things. Like the first, like I remember my parents bought me like a sketchbook so I could draw. And I used to draw a lot more as a kid. And the first cartoon character I ever drew was SpongeBob. And then I asked for like, I wanted to paint as well. And painting I didn't take to as much. But the first thing I ever painted was SpongeBob. And so
was it SpongeBob doing anything, or was it just SpongeBob standing there smiling, or
it was always SpongeBob like holding a spatula.
Oh, okay. So him at work, being a fry cook. Did he have a little hat on and stuff?
Yeah. It was and then like speaking on just like how the show broke form so much, like episodes like the Idiot Box or the Dream episode where SpongeBob's like invading other people's dreams. Like it made me think about things in a way where I'm like, oh, this could be anything. You could do anything with this guy.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that was like, I think what makes it so timeless, the thing that makes it so watchable for both kids and adults in general, that makes it connect with so many is, and people have said this a million times, so this isn't my original thought, but when people say like you're a kid, you relate to SpongeBob, and when you're an adult, you relate to Squidward. And I think like overall the show, and this we're going to get to the movie, this is how it links in my opinion, is the show has overall always been about like that kind of connective tissue between acting like a kid versus being an adult, and kind of the joy that gets robbed of you when you're an adult, and like why it's important to still kind of be yourself and be a kid. Because SpongeBob and Patrick are always doing dumb childish stuff. They go jellyfishing, they play in a box together. SpongeBob goes to work and he loves his job. He's totally content with his job. Like, it's just something that adults can't fundamentally connect with, because generally when you grow up, you lose those parts of yourself.
But the key is that Squidward like always wants to be a part of that secretly. Like throughout the show, Squidward's annoyed by them, but he always wants to be a part of it. Like, and that's the kind of trife of being an adult, is that like you're annoyed by the childish, amateurish things, but you kind of want it so bad.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you always see those inklings come out of Squidward, you know, like with the Idiot Box episode especially, or when they're playing, when they're having snowball fights, how he ends up becoming like obsessed with it, you know, all that stuff, for him never trying Krabby Patties. Like, it's always kind of all about that. And I think like they always had this really nice balance. Like, even outside of Squidward too, even the random citizens of Bikini Bottom can be miserable too. You know, when Patrick is like sweeping the floor upside down with the top of his broom. Do you remember what a guy walks up to him and says?
No.
He goes, "Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?"
Yeah.
And so they always have the, even the movie has this too, and they're like Goofy Goober, how the waiter is like miserable. They always have these like this counterbalance of like sad adults, while SpongeBob and Patrick are like running around like little kids.
I think that's why this movie's so perfect for SpongeBob. It takes what we love about him and makes that his fatal flaw, and you know, and throws that against him. We love SpongeBob because he's naive and silly and dumb. But what if when there's a moment that comes for like him to step up from fry cook to manager, and all the reasons we love SpongeBob is actually works against him. And so when you start the day with "I'm ready promotion," and then it ends with "I'm ready depression," like what happens after that?
And I hate that that's actually a pretty shot too. When he's walking away, when he's like depression, it's like this really nice sunset. It's like, it looks melancholy.
And it's kind of giving him the middle finger, like, this day is so beautiful, but not for you. And, well, I wanted to ask you, you know, we both moved to LA very young. Like, I mean, you younger than me. You came here for college. But I think like you've told me stories, and I've told, like, you've been there for my stories of like realizing quickly that, oh, people don't look at me like I'm a grown man. Because maybe I'm not yet or whatever, but there's certain moments where you're like, shit, I'm not a grown ass man.
Yeah.
Do you remember a moment like that early on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if I have like specific, like, oh, this particular thing happened, but overall, I was one of the youngest people in my class when I moved to LA. You know, I mean, I was literally as young as like they would allow me. I was only 18. There were inside jokes that accumulated though, because by the time I finished school, I was 21. And as time went on, all my classmates made jokes that I was only 18. That became like the inside joke. So like anytime I'd say something raunchy or edgy, it became a bit to be like, "Chris, you're only 18. You can't say that." And so even up to when I was like 21, they're like, "Chris, you're only 18. And even up to a point when I was probably like 24, 23 or something, there was some picture of me on Instagram that went up where it was just me sitting, whatever. And I got a comment from a classmate that said, "You don't look 18 anymore. Sad face." And so,
and you're like,
I was always looked at it. Huh?
I was saying, and you should have just responded like, "Yeah, tell me about it." Like,
yeah, exactly. And so it was always kind of a bit that I was like the little boy of the group. I still had braces when I first moved out here too. I had braces longer than most people did because I had pretty fucking janky teeth, side note. But yeah, for sure. That was like an overall thing in my whole class. So pretty much my entire first couple years in LA, I felt like I was still a kid.
When you would have like your classmates kind of like make those jokes, it seems like you took them by stride. Like that didn't affect you at all?
Those jokes, yeah, for sure. I did enjoy them. I think like there was always a level of like, you know, there were times I was pretty insecure. You know, it wasn't just about, you know, in terms of like me being childish, but there's also a lot of jokes about my like, my masculinity and stuff that came with being young, because I was a little younger and innocent, and sometimes that gets lumped together with like kind of being soft. And I think there were certain insecurities that I definitely had as I got older,
Well, this movie's so much about these two guys not feeling like men.
Yeah.
Or it's not that they want to be men, they just want the certain level of respect that comes with being a man.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, I was so deeply insecure about being a kid that I wanted to grow up as quickly as possible. And it was like, I would look to movies as like an aspiration. Like, I would look at a movie, and if a character worked at an office and would have their shit together, I would kind of look at that and just be like, I want that. I want to be like that,
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like, I just wanted to grow up as quickly as possible. Like,
it's so funny because like in my head, instead of looking to like classic, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kurt Russell, Sylvester Stallone, you look to like office workers as like the template for men.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Because I think, when I would look at masculine dudes that are like beating up bad guys, I was like, well, I can't be that. Like, what are you talking
of
about?
course. Yeah, they're video game characters.
But not even that. It was just like, even in school, I wasn't a guy that was like, I'm going to look after the little guy. I'm going to beat up like my bullies or whatever. I was just like, I was very mediocre. And I was kind of just like, I need to grow up quickly because then I will be able to live the life I want. And
sorry to disappoint listeners. Altaf was not this ripped, scary guy in school. I know you probably pictured him that way when he was young, but he was not. He actually once had hair.
Exactly. And I think the point I'm trying to make, I'm rambling a lot, but I think the point I'm trying to make is that what this movie was very like, how I relate to this movie is that even though I wanted to grow up as quickly as possible, I never really got that respect of like being a man. Even when I technically became one and moved to LA by myself, I immediately lived with guys that had way more life experience, way more sexual experience, way more just like experience with relationships than I did. Like, it was just a whole new world. And I kind of felt like I was wearing those fake mustaches that SpongeBob and Patrick have. Where I moved to LA, I'm living away from my parents, and I'm like trying to find a job, and I'm doing the things that adults do, but I don't feel like one,
Yeah, and that sort of thing will never end, I think I've come to learn. I feel like the goalpost will always shift for people. There's always like someone that has more experience than you do in certain things, like you said. There's never like I don't think the level of experience you have like defines your whatever you want to call it, being a man. As weird as like, I don't want to go down like manosphere conversations. Obviously, it's just funny how we're saying like, what it is to be a man, but it's just something that we deal with as a couple dudes, right?
Well, I'm not saying that like my thought process of like I want to be a man was right. I'm just saying like when you're a young boy, at least the way I was, I don't want to generalize, but if you were a young boy like me, I aspire to a certain level of manhood because I thought that's when I would get to have the respect.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. That's what's interesting about it is like, that's what, I think the SpongeBob movie even explores in a way that like that those sorts of things don't really define. It's really more about your own self-respect and how you value yourself and how you think you deserve to be treated no matter whatever. Even if a guy has more experience in this and that, or someone else, is a higher up in work than you do, you can still demand your own respect just because you respect yourself enough and you would give the same in return. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why it like when in the third act of the movie where he like fully owns who he is, that's the arc. I think another big part of this movie is it's a great friendship movie. Early on when SpongeBob doesn't get the manager position and walks home with "I'm ready" depression, that's when Patrick flies in naked. And you see his little tushy, and he's like, "Yay, SpongeBob!"
I only completely forgot about that sequence, but I remember, as soon as I saw it again, I remember my reaction to it in theaters of how hard me, my grandma, and my cousin laughed together when we saw that flag planted in Patrick's cheeks.
And a strong grip, by the way. Jesus.
Yeah, he had to clench hard to hold on to that flag.
No, but his ass is like, he can bounce on that shit. Like, it's kind of crazy. Remember when he says, he's like, I have a surprise for you, and then he like bounces back home. I'm like, God damn that, he's got a big bowl of an ass.
I know. There's a lot of physics that they edited in for the movie. They had more time to put more work into the animation.
Oh yeah, in my shouty section, I have a lot of moments where it's just like, wow, they went hard on the animation here. And you know, he is. What's the name of the place called?
Oh, Goofy Goobers.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's like a full name for it, like Goofy Goobers Ice Cream Parlor, or like Ice Cream Bow, or something like that. But people just call it Goofy Goobers.
Well, SpongeBob and Patrick convene there, and SpongeBob's crying on the bar, at the nut bar, and SpongeBob reveals to Patrick that he didn't get it. There is this brilliant moment right before where he's like, I know, I just won't think about it. Wow, I feel better. And it's like, we've kind of all been there of just like, okay, maybe I'll feel better from this deep well of depression if I just stop thinking about the thing I was upset about.
Oh, well, and then and then immediately people close to you remind you of the thing. You know what's funny? This is like completely random, but when I was going through like some of my hardcore breakup shit, there's always like that kind of feeling, and I'm sure people listening can relate to this, that like when you go through like a pretty major breakup in your life, you know, with someone you've been with for a long time, etc., you just know next time you see like family members, people close to you, you're going to have to tell them, because almost always, hey, where's so-and-so? How are you and so-and-so doing? You know, you're going to have to just relive it and explain it again and again. So I remember finding myself avoiding people because I didn't, even though I needed quote unquote support, but I was like, I don't want to fucking tell everyone and make this like my thing.
Yeah. And then you'll have someone like me being like, while you're maybe in a better place, I'm like, hey man, are you okay about that? That was fucked up. And you're like, oh God. SpongeBob reveals to Patrick what happened. He's like, they said they didn't promote me to manager because they said I wasn't mature enough. Patrick immediately is like, what? That's insane. Like, Patrick is like,
that's like saying I'm not mature enough or whatever it is. Like, I'm a kid.
There was supposed to be a toy that came with this. Like, no, but I love Patrick's just like immediate, that's bullshit. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, he doesn't understand it at all. And then like, then he ends up encouraging him to have a triple gooberberry sunrise, which, you know what? This is like a side note. I kind of want to get that tattooed on me. Triple gooberberry sunrise somewhere on me.
Oh, that would be good. That would be good. I think also the peanut character would be good too.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think like if I had to get any SpongeBob imagery tattooed on me, it would be between the triple gooberberry sunrise. Obviously, an easy one you can do is Doodle Bob, you know.
Doodle Bob. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just, of course, you know, it's easy enough to draw. Or the other one that came to mind. Do you remember the episode when Patrick goes with SpongeBob to boating school with Mrs. Puff?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Do you remember how Patrick drew Big Fat Meanie?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that stupid caricature. Like, that'd be a pretty funny tattoo as well. Just getting Big Fat Meanie of Mrs. Puff.
No, that would be great. I think Doodle Bob would be like a solid one, though. That's the one that's standing out to me.
Yeah.
Well, they get drunk. Basically.
Probably one of the most iconic bros getting drunk together scene possible.
You need a friend in your life where you can kind of just be a doofus with. That will not just tag along with your bullshit, but will do dumb shit with you. And that's so important. You know, we talked a lot during the Lord of the Rings how special like the Sam and Frodo relationship is, because they genuinely have this love for each other and they pull each other out of dark moments, and you and I related to that with our friendship. Another aspect of our friendship is you and I have the dumbest bits with each other. Like, we have just dog shit sense of humor with each other, that some of which that we can't even reveal on this podcast.
Oh, a lot of it we can't reveal. Absolutely.
You and I shared a room together for like a few years, and you would fuck with me sometimes where I'd be on my bed on my laptop with my laptop to my chest, with my headphones on, very comfortable watching YouTube. And I'd have like my little blankie on. I'd be so comfortable. And then suddenly I'd feel like this, like the blanket kind of dragging off my body, and immediately like my legs would flail instinctively. And it was Chris slightly pulling my blanket. And it was just like a million bits like that. And I don't know, the SpongeBob Patrick thing reminds me is like, if you're lucky in your adulthood, you need people like that, you know?
Oh, you need to fully embrace like the full childish, dumb side of your humor. Because to me, it's like showing the purest side of yourself too. Because I feel like that part of you can sometimes be like, you know, something you hold back because you'll embarrass yourself in front of people that you don't really know very well or whatever. But when you have like someone you're really close to, you're like, yeah, I'm going to show you like my whole dog shit, like you said, my humor is, you know? And yeah, like you said, the fact that you and I started a YouTube channel together, for the first like 2 years, nobody watched us. Our videos sucked when we first started making stuff together. You know what I mean? If we pulled up any of our old videos,
some of the shorts were really good. I'm proud of them.
Yes, but okay, thank you for clarifying, but you're such a proud mom. Yeah, the point I'm trying to get at is...
Don't shit on us completely, come on.
Our old content was not good.
I mean, come on, like there's some shorts that I'm actually still proud of. Like
I'm not saying shorts, I'm not talking about our pieces of art that you and I put into, I'm talking about our normal sit-down table vlogs. That was most of our content.
We did short film from a hat, that was cool.
Yeah, man, but okay, all right, you're completely missing the point I'm really trying to get at.
No,
fucking, this is what, or maybe you're proving my point. Is that like, you know, you need the friends that you can kind of, we both did childish shit together. You and I were going out in public and making little YouTube videos, and eventually it turned into something else. But for the first, 2 years, nobody watched us, and our videos weren't good, but we made it anyway because we loved it together. Other people from a distance might not have fully understood what we were trying to do or why we were doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, completely. I think like those early years of Nice Dudes, before it became Nice Dude Movie Night, when it was Nice Dude Productions, it did kind of feel like solo SpongeBob and Patrick adventures.
100%, you know? And it was just you and me against the world is kind of what it felt like. Because again, we didn't have an audience really at the time. So we only had each other to kind of like answer to and give feedback to. We didn't have comments that were like, this is weird. You know what I'm saying?
And we would celebrate tiny wins, where like just accomplishing something small would like make us feel happy. And I want to transition using that to one of my favorite, like I feel like an underrated scene in this movie, which is they're about to exit Bikini Bottom and they're at that borderline, and there's those two guys that are doing the, after every punchline they slap their knee together and laugh.
Oh yeah, of course.
And basically those two guys, he's like, you're not going to make it past 5 seconds outside of this line. And the moment they cross the line, there's this guy there who's like, all right, fellas, give me your stuff. Like he's immediately there.
He immediately steals their car, and then they like get out carrying their luggage and stuff.
And they turn around and ask those two guys, was like, how long was that? And they said, I think 12 seconds. SpongeBob and Patrick immediately slap their knee and start laughing. He's like, boo, got you. Patrick has a blowhorn. And I think that moment is so good because it's just like, they're idiots. They're just so dumb. But also, it's like, you're kind of happy for them. Like, look at them celebrating a small win.
Yeah. I know exactly, because this is probably the farthest they've been out of town, and they already did better than they thought they would, almost in a way.
I just think that's so important. Like, you and I have been broke with each other. And I remember moments where, like, one of my fondest memories with you, me and you being broke as fuck after one of those early Nice Dude video shoots, like not having any money.
Yeah.
And we took our change and went to the Coinstar in Rouse. $40 came out, and you and I were like, oh, not bad. Okay, let's get some frozen pizza. Like, we were both like really happy. Like, and
I totally forgot about that.
We'd
have fucking Coinstars, man, because at the time I worked, were those my coins accumulated?
It was a lot of mine.
Oh, okay. Because I remember I used to go to the Coinstar when I worked at the Cold Stone, because I used to get cash tips that I would bring, and usually I got like a ton of quarters and stuff, and I would save them.
Well, I think we just had many moments like that, specifically of being broke. I remember like you and I would be like, we'd both kind of celebrate if we had more than $50 in our bank account sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I would literally be like, yeah, I got $70, and you'd be like, oh, that's not bad. Like, it was insane. And
Who the hell were we? We were animals.
we were living in LA.
I know. We were like, oh yeah, let's clear out my evening so we can shoot this dinky little video.
So, okay, to continue a little bit, they're making the journey to Shell City, and it's like, immediately this world's open up. Like, I don't know if you felt this way, Chris, but like SpongeBob would have those like inklings of like them going out to the Bikini Bottom, or just like, you know, that weird bus stop where everyone's speaking a weird language.
Rock bottom, yeah, when they go to the deep sea.
But like watching this movie as a kid, it was kind of a thing to be like, oh my God, we're going to places we've never gone before. And watching this movie as an adult, I'm just like, oh fuck, this is kind of like the Odyssey.
A little bit. Huh?
Like, there's legitimately references to where like there's what's her name? King Neptune's daughter. Her name is Mindy.
Yeah.
Mindy gives Patrick like a bag of wind.
Yeah. That's like a Greek. That's like, yeah, it is the Odyssey.
They're coming across like monsters, like the Cyclops. That's like, and like
this big Leviathan worm. That's like, it's like fucking Dune, like this giant worm going through.
Yeah, it's a Shai Hulud coming in. Yeah. By the way, are you impressed with that?
You should have just let it. You should have just had it. You know what I mean? You didn't. like the so like because like you would come across as just a casual nerd if that's if you just said it in passing.
No.
Now it's like, oh, I don't normally know this stuff.
I just wanted to mention that like right when I was watching this the other night, I'm just like, oh wow, they like really thought of an epic when they were making this movie.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they're going on like a huge quest, you know. Also, I know we were kind of, I just want to touch on this as well because we kind of skipped it a little bit. I love SpongeBob's drunken, angry rant to Mr. Krabs when he's like hungover. All of that when he wakes up and his eyes are all crusty and his eyelids are purple.
Yeah.
And his nose is purple and he has a stupid little hat, this like little acapella barbershop quartet hat.
Well, there's also those, you know, like, yeah, he has this like 3 o'clock shadow, and King Neptune's basically has the trident against Mr. Krabs. Like, does anyone have anything to say? And SpongeBob's like, I have something to say. And he really gives it to Mr. Krabs in a way that he never has in the show. And I remember even as a kid, dude, being like, oh my God, SpongeBob's pissed. Like, I've never, like, we had never seen him like truly upset in that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and the fact that like it feels like a drunk coworker, you know what I'm saying? Or a drunk employee going in to tell off their boss. Like the way he's stumbling in, he's, oh, sorry, I got something to say to you, Mr. Krabs, or whatever. Like,
yeah.
I always thought he was a great guy. But I realized he's a jerk, whatever he says. But it's just such a funny way for that to happen. That he comes in and he's like, they make him like look like the town drunk.
Yeah. Because like Mr. Krabs broke him. It was like a real. And SpongeBob thought he had that in the bag. Like, remember when Mr. Krabs announces like that Squidward's manager? SpongeBob immediately, he doesn't even hear it. He immediately starts celebrating. But there's that small moment where SpongeBob's like, yes! And it's like kind of scary. Like he really wanted it.
And he's like, oh, better luck next time, buddy. And he shakes Squidward's hand. I always loved, well, the two things I always loved about that moment too is when they unveil, I love how Squidward's artwork is always so awkward. How it's just his head just blankly staring.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like a smiling portrait. But then on top, I just love the idea of a business opening a whole ass new store and not offering it to him ahead of time, but just announcing who the winner, or, you know, who the manager is.
Well, there's many things to that. The fact that he's like opening up another Krusty Krab, which would make sense, but he's opening it up like right next to it. Like there's no other
called the Krusty Krab 2.
But there's like no other like separate location. Like there's no like oh, we're gonna open one up near like the beach or something like that.
It's just inklings like that make SpongeBob so special, though. That's something that I've always said to you, and I can go like we can create a whole other episode of our love for the show. So I don't want to just totally derail. But one thing that I think makes SpongeBob really special is how little of a fuck the writers gave when it came to that sort of thing. You know, I always touch on this of how Patrick's house is inconsistent. How sometimes he has full furniture made of sand or a whole bed. And then like in the movie, there are times when the rock just lifts and he's just there.
Yeah, like a starfish. And then he has just, I like clocked it. He just had like a magazine in there. Like that was like it.
I know, exactly. So,
well, and
that's just sprinkled throughout the whole movie.
And even in this one, when Patrick and SpongeBob like take on the mission of 5 days to retrieve the crown, or 6 days, they immediately go to the kitchen and there's poles, like fire poles. Like they slide down and there's this underground layer where the Krabby Patty like mobile is there or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Then he shows him, pops the hood, and it has like deep fryers inside.
And the line that I quote in the synopsis, which I think is my favorite line in this movie, is like, "You don't need a license to drive a sandwich."
I know. Because they always said they had to plug out that plot hole, because like that is an ongoing part of the show, is that SpongeBob is a horrific driver. That's like his whole thing. He like throughout the whole show, he's always trying to get his license, and he cannot possibly drive to save his life. And again, adding to the child adult thing, he just can't drive. They had to make an exception for the show, for the movie.
The heartbreaking episode where like Patrick gets his license and SpongeBob doesn't, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, even when they exit, I'll mention the shouties. We don't need to go through that. But
yeah.
Anything like thematically you want to mention before we get into the like the Shell City, David Hasselhoff third act of it all?
No, I think we just about covered it. You know, I'm happy with what we've talked about so far.
SpongeBob and Patrick are being chased by Dennis, and they think they've like dealt with him because a giant boot comes in and smashes Dennis, and Patrick's like, "A larger boot," and they realize it's the Cyclops that Princess Mindy's been talking about, and in classic SpongeBob SquarePants fashion, it's a whole ass person. Like it's
it's a deep sea diver, basically, like an old school deep sea diver.
And grab SpongeBob and Patrick, and they wake up in a fishbowl with artificial rocks, and they look around and they realize Shell City's like this like this souvenir shop with like dead fishes that are kind of turned into antique wall pieces.
Oh yeah, and it's like horrifying because they slowly realize it too. They look around and like from their perspective, that's like as sick as it gets. You know, the idea of turning like fish corpses, and they're like Google eyes, and like of turning them into novelties. And so
I will say I love the actor who did the physical movements of the diver, of like evil laughing with his hands gesturing, or just like doing the googly eyes while doing a little shimmy while singing. That was all fun.
Oh yeah, great stuff. And how he's just the most sadistic evil man possible. He's like, "Wah, ha, 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 ha," like while they're in there. And then basically the diver scoops them out, lays them on this wooden board with like a hot light over them to basically slowly dry them out to death. It's really fucked up. And basically they're laying there helpless because, you know, in SpongeBob's words where he says like, "The heat is so intense, I can't move," whatever. And they basically start reflecting on like the realization that they are, you know, ill-equipped to handle this task. You know, that like SpongeBob realizes like we're just a couple of kids in over our heads. And Patrick's like, "Shell City, I know, the place we couldn't get to, Shell City. You said it, pal. The place we'll never get to." And he's like, "Shell City. Oh, okay, Patrick, you're starting to bum me out." And he's like, and basically then Patrick's like, "No, you know, Shell City." And they realize that they've actually made it to the place. And they look over and see the crown, and they're like, basically through their dying words, they realize like, "Oh fuck, like we did it." You know, like we actually, like for a couple kids, we actually managed to pull it off.
It's very like Sam and Frodo right at like Mordor. It's kind of just like that kind of vibe of just, listen, I know we couldn't take it all the way, but at least you were with me and we did it together, you know?
Yeah, and we can be proud of the fact that we achieved this thing, you know, like because people told us no one can do this, and we did it. And they both shed a tear. Their tears come together and form a heart underneath them. And then SpongeBob just starts belting, I'm a goofy goober, yeah. And then Patrick joins in. They start singing the Goofy Goober theme song together as they're slowly dying.
Well,
and they die, they shrivel up and turn into live action a sponge and starfish.
You forgot to mention that like SpongeBob's arm breaks and Patrick quickly puts it back in.
Oh yeah, I know, because he's so dry that and brittle that his arm comes off, and Patrick just reaches over and just pops it back on, and it's like backwards.
I mean, do you remember like what it was like then? When do you remember what that was like in the theater at all? Do you have any memory of that?
Yeah, I mean, I was old enough to understand, I didn't freak out and cry or anything like that, but I did feel things. I remember thinking oh my God, this is this is heartbreaking. But like you said, though, we talked about earlier, as soon as they die, it cuts over to all the pirates crying together, and it immediately made everyone laugh in the theater,
Yeah, it lets you sit in the moment while also not being traumatizing. It balances it, in my opinion, very well.
Yeah, it does have good balance. And I think because normally I think you and I are not fans of, making humor out of sincere moments. But SpongeBob's one of those shows where it'd be really weird and inauthentic to the show or to what SpongeBob is if it took it super seriously the whole time. It would be a huge 180.
Yeah, so and again, it still feels like it's not, it still feels like in that world,
Exactly. And then they're like, wait, everyone, or the parrot points it out, like, shut up and watch the screen or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, look, it be the tier of the Goofy Goobers. And then we follow that tier. It goes all the way down and into the circuitry or into the outlet, the plug-in, and it shuts the light off, and the smoke sets off the sprinklers, and then immediately hell breaks loose because not only do SpongeBob and Patrick come to life, but everyone in the, all of the dead fish come to life. And so the deep sea diver comes back from using the can, because they established that he was in the bathroom while this was happening. They all angrily look at him, including the crabs holding up the glue and googly eyes, and they tackle him. And the animation still looks really good. The fight scene when he's rolling around fighting all the different, and it has the Who Framed Roger Rabbit effect where it works really well.
Yeah, man. It's actually kind of astounding how it still holds up in that way. So Patrick and SpongeBob are now at the beach, and they realize they have the crown in hand, and they need to get to Bikini Bottom. How are they gonna do that, Chris? What are they gonna do?
Well, starting off with one of my favorite jokes in the movie is when SpongeBob asks Patrick, "Do you still have the bag of wins?" And he turns around and he has a big old lump in his butt. Is and then they start laughing together, and then he pulls out the bag of wins, and that lump is still there. And then SpongeBob's like, what? Nothing.
He's just but it was SpongeBob's actually disturbed by it though, because they leave it a second longer, and you can see SpongeBob's kind of not happy with that.
Yeah, he does genuinely is kind of concerned. They leave it up to you to decide what that is.
So the bag of wind is let loose. And
because Patrick accidentally deflates it because SpongeBob's reading the instructions, and Patrick just loses a hold of it, and it just flies out.
Again, a brilliant choice in writing, right? You think that's going to pay off. You think SpongeBob and Patrick are going to now victoriously, Princess Mindy has set this up, and now we're going to pay this off, and boom, the bag of wind flies off as a joke.
Yeah.
Chris, how the hell are they going to get to Bikini Bottom now?
So that's what SpongeBob asks. He's like, how are we going to get to Bikini Bottom now? And then you just hear a voice from off screen. I can take you there. And then immediately it cuts to fucking David Hasselhoff just running in a classic Baywatch slow-mo style running scene to them. Okay,
so now I just want to slow us down a little bit. I remember when I watched this movie, I didn't know who David Hasselhoff was, never seen an ounce of Baywatch, I didn't even know what Baywatch was. In my kid brain, I was like, oh, classic SpongeBob, it's a human lifeguard, you know what I mean? But in my kid brain, I was also watching it being like, this guy's fucking charming. Who is he?
Well, it worked both ways, exactly. If you've never heard of David Hasselhoff, it's still funny to have a real human guy just being like, I'll take you there, some random lifeguard, like you said. And
but honestly, listen, I haven't seen much of Baywatch. In my opinion, I put this up there as a great David Hasselhoff performance. He is actually good. Aside from the joke of it. Like, the joke is that it's David Hasselhoff, right? But then David Hasselhoff sells the fucking shit out of it.
It's a very self-aware performance. You know what I mean? Like, he knows exactly what he's bringing to the table, and he brings that charm. You know,
Which
he's
is
not
hard to
taking
do.
himself seriously in the scene.
Yeah, totally.
And I just love the bit. Oh, I forgot how they ask him or what the exact words are. But basically, when he's offering to take them there, they're like, you know, where's your boat, Mr. Hasselhoff, or whatever? And he's like, boat. And it just hard cuts to him just swimming. So the tension's building up. Obviously, it cuts away because they're getting ready. It's like the day of when Mr. Krabs is supposed to die. So we know that, you know, they're on the clock. And then when it cuts back, you see Mr. Hasselhoff, like his whole body's straight and he's moving like a full boat, like a motorboat going.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, then suddenly the giant human boot suddenly comes back and they don't know what it is. They're asking, like, what the hell is that? And then all of a sudden, Dennis's splattered body just peels off, and it's him still going after them with a knife, just climbing his way, and they have a whole fight on David Hasselhoff's backside.
Okay, I wanted to mention this. That fight sequence is staged as if it's like they're fighting on top of a train, like a moving train.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a Western train scene.
Right? Like, if you watch Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning and how, like, Tom Cruise is punching the bad guys on top of that train, it is that kind of sequence. And it's edited like action movies are edited, where at the height of, like, a fight on top of David Hasselhoff's body, it'll cut back to at the Krusty Krab. Like,
it's a classic ticking clock.
100%. And it's kind of amazing. It's all happening on top of David Hasselhoff's body, his hairy legs. It's kind of just... The jump, dude, the leap from one leg to the other is actually majestic.
Yeah, I know. I love the small detail that when Dennis tries to stab him, he stabs David Hasselhoff's butt, and it cuts to him just being like, whoa, take it easy back there, fellas. It's so stupid.
This is just, like, hands down one of the most iconic sequences in any kids movie ever.
It's so much fun, dude. It's so much fun. Even like before Dennis arrives, when he's like boating through the ocean, how he splashes some random fisherman, and then you see David Hasselhoff's face do this kind of like kind of satisfied with himself.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can tell he's having so much fun doing this. It makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Let's keep things moving along. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot what it is that segues them being launched down. But basically, David gets up, and then his pecs turn into like a fucking Transformer Megazord.
Yes.
Yeah. And it opens up, and he sticks SpongeBob and Patrick between, and then he launches them down. It's the sickest shit I've ever seen.
Like, my jaw was on the floor watching it the other night. I still can't believe they pulled that off. Like, I'm imagining, like, Stephen Hillenburg and all the writers in their office thinking about this sequence and being like, if we can pull this off, it'd be the greatest shit ever. Like,
I know. And I know. I feel like they were just trying to make themselves laugh the whole way through.
I mean, I always heard that from the creators of SpongeBob, like early creators of SpongeBob, of just like, we never thought of what would make a kid laugh. We always thought of what would make us laugh.
So we kind of glossed over this just because it's just generic kids movie villain stuff. But Plankton basically enslaved the whole town of Bikini Bottom and turned it into Planktopolis.
Which I want to mention this real quick. Great Plankton and his computer wife Karen stuff in this movie. Like, really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know we kind of skipped over, but Karen is actually my Hear Me Out, by the way.
I had that in the shouties. I was like, Chris should mention that Karen's is Hear Me Out.
I love Karen's like little, Midwestern accent that she's got going.
Yeah, and she gives it to him straight. Like, you kind of like that in a woman too. Like,
yeah, exactly. Anyway, though, so SpongeBob and Patrick barely make it in time to save Mr. Krabs. And basically they convince King Neptune to spare Mr. Krabs, but it's too late because all of the drones are coming in, closing in around them. And Plankton tells SpongeBob, like, you think you're equipped to handle this? Or whatever he says, because he's just a kid. Mm-hmm. And basically SpongeBob gives like a speech where he basically says, like, yeah, you're right. I am a kid. But that's okay because, it doesn't take being a manager or, having a mustache or some other third thing. You are who you are. Basically he ends up fully loving himself and owning, he's like, but I went and I got the crown. We fought the Cyclops. We defeated basically we went and like fuck shit up. Basically is what he's telling everyone. And most of all, and they don't know what's happening because something's building up inside of SpongeBob. And then all of a sudden, SpongeBob is donned in a full wizard gear with Cyclops goggles. And then he screams out, "I'm a goopy goober!" And then one of the most iconic third act songs kicks in.
Well, this movie has like a decent amount, like has like a couple of musical sequences, but yeah, this is the one.
It's basically a party at the end. To me, I equate it with like, Go Johnny Go, or, Johnny Be Good at the end of Back to the Future. It was like just a big celebration party song.
And yeah, 100%. And it's also just like SpongeBob's pure like acceptance of who he is. Jim Wise is the singer, so I just want to shout that out. Just amazing stuff.
It's a parody of Twisted Sister's "I Wanna Rock."
Okay.
Of an 80s song. It's normally "I Wanna Rock." That's how it normally goes.
My favorite shot is when SpongeBob is the planet.
Yeah, it's like claymation.
I also like Patrick wearing fishnets. That's nice.
Oh, dude, like I feel like that's one of those memories that's like also burned in my brain as a kid. And I feel like it still holds up. A lot of people, like, when people cosplay as SpongeBob and Patrick, people say, like, you should do the fishnets, Patrick. You know? It's kind of its own brand now.
One of my favorite moments is when, like, after the song's over, SpongeBob's still hanging on top because he did this guitar solo where he elevated. But then he's, like, still hanging by ropes. And Patrick's like, "I got it." And Patrick's still wearing the fishnets.
Yeah, dude. I also love when he's playing the guitar solo, how he's, like, sweating and they put all this effort into his facial animations like he's a real, like, Jimi Hendrix. Like, making all these, like, he's putting so much into his solo, and it cuts to, like, a live-action hand shredding the fretboard.
Yeah. Well, SpongeBob is... I'm rushing through this, but...
Yeah.
Mr. Krabs realizes the mistake he made and offers SpongeBob the manager position. And SpongeBob is like, "I don't know what to say." And Squidward gives this monologue. It's like, "I know what you want to say, SpongeBob. You realize that after going through that journey, just being a manager that's not what you really wanted." And like, the cliche, like, it's what was in you, your acceptance. And SpongeBob was like, "Are you kidding? This is the best day of my life."
I was going to say your fly's down.
Yeah, exactly. And then it jumps, freeze frames, goes to credits.
Ocean Man.
I want to, before we go to write-ins, I want to mention this quick thing. Stephen Hillenburg was was asked to do a SpongeBob movie, and he was denying it for a while. And then he revealed in interviews that he was like kind of at first scared after movies like Iron Giant, Toy Story, or even like Finding Nemo were coming out, where he was like, "I feel like people are gonna want this like big like reason for a movie to exist, like these consequential like story engines, And he wanted to make a movie that felt like a movie but still had that SpongeBob cadence, where he's like, he didn't want to lose that of like, it's still SpongeBob, it's about these two dumb idiots going on an adventure. And he obviously found that balance. And he said that after the SpongeBob movie was done, he was so proud of the work that they had done that people might know this, but he was very insistent about that being the ending of the show. Like, he was like, I think we've reached our peak. And Nickelodeon was like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is the most like fun, like, this is we get money bags with this franchise.
Oh, and it's a piece of like Viacom's pie as well. Like, Viacom overall is like a conglomerate media company or whatever. SpongeBob is responsible for a surprisingly large portion of its profits.
And they wanted to keep doing the show. Stephen Hillenburg left. He later came back, but and up until like when he came back, he was like in an executive producer position, but he was never as creatively involved as he was up to the SpongeBob movie. And the reason I'm mentioning him is like, obviously he passed away in 2018, but if anyone's interested, I'd highly like look up like on YouTube behind the scenes of season 1 of SpongeBob. And it is just the most heartwarming thing you could ever see. And maybe they're romanticizing it for like the DVD featurettes, but Stephen Hillenburg had a marine biology background. Like, he really cared about ocean animals. And all these people just were like brilliant comedy minds, but they just genuinely gave a shit. And I think the SpongeBob movie and the seasons of SpongeBob that came before the movie, which you and I consider like some of the best liked kids television ever made, feels like that. It feels like people having fun, you know? And I just, that's what I feel nostalgic about, is like watching stuff where I can like sense that. I can sense, oh my God, someone behind this is having such a blast making it. The David Hasselhoff reeks of that. It reeks of like them getting so excited about pulling this off.
I know. 100%. Very well said. You know, I mean, like, you can just feel the fun throughout those first few seasons, and you can feel the fun drop after the movie, to be completely blunt.
We asked you guys how the SpongeBob SquarePants movie changed you. You emailed us in at moviesthatchangedus@gmail.com. For the future, if you want to write us in for the movies that we record for this podcast, then follow us on all our social media. That's Instagram, TikTok, and also on our Patreon. All of the handles is Movies That Changed Us. All right. So we first write-in comes from a longtime fan, Puffy Boy. Hi, nice dudes. Super psyched that you're going to be talking about the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. This movie is my absolute jam. One of the few I could probably recite from memory. As a kid, I loved it because it's SpongeBob. As an adult, I love it for its message of, you are who you are, so embrace it. Can't wait for the episode.
Aw. Yeah, I mean, perfectly said. You know, it's pretty much that's pretty much like the very heart and soul of the movies. You are who you are, so embrace it. That's kind of the whole SpongeBob. Everyone kind of looks at SpongeBob like it's a nonsense like comedy, which it is. It has a lot of stupid ass jokes in it for sure, but there's always that connective tissue, that kind of that sort of that feeling of like, just be yourself no matter how ridiculous you look. You know, life is short, have fun.
Yeah, that's it. It's like when I watch SpongeBob and I watch old episodes of it, it's like, it kind of just reminds me, it's like, oh, like, yeah, we should be more silly. It's kind of the feeling I had with watching the Liam Neeson Naked Gun. I'm just like, oh yeah, it's okay to be extremely silly.
This next one is by Raymond Hillhouse. The SpongeBob movie is an extremely influential movie for me. The movie is a classic. Me and my friends can't stop quoting the movie, and it's also the film that introduced me to David Hasselhoff. The humor is a massive influence for the movies I make. And not only that, but as a kid, I walked into the place where a party was happening for either some family members or friends, and just like Patrick, I said, "Can I have everybody's attention?" I don't know why I'm picturing you saying it exactly like Patrick, Raymond. I have to use the bathroom. And it's still a widely talked about story from my childhood.
Yeah, that's, I mean, what's your go-to SpongeBob quote?
Oh man, what isn't, you know? No, I mean, I like to say the random Bikini Bottom citizen stuff. Like, I like to say like, you know, like, hey, funny guy, what smells rotten and puts people to sleep?
For sure. Oh brother, this guy stinks is like the most, like, it's the most memed, I feel like.
Oh yeah. Do you want to take a shot at it?
Oh brother, this guy stinks.
Thank you.
Shout out really quick. Oh, we didn't do shouties. Maybe we can do it after write-ins. Okay. Last write-in comes from Daniel Walsh. Hello once again, nice dudes. Dan here. It's been a while since I've done a write-in, so when I saw this, I thought, what the hell? This movie didn't really change me that much, and I just found it to be a really entertaining and hilarious comedy. As I've gotten a bit older, though, again, only 16, I've learned to appreciate it more and more as the last piece of SpongeBob media worked on by Stephen Hillenburg. SpongeBob and Patrick surprisingly have actual character arcs in this, on top of being just hysterical characters. The only complaint I have about this movie is the lack of screen time for the other characters, but that does very little to hinder it. I look back on this film very positively, and the show is still one of the greatest of all time. But that about wraps it up for me, so until next time, nice dudes, this has been your boy, Dan. I do like how Dan has like a sign-off.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, Dan's our boy. That's what it is. That's our boy. Just officially. I agree that I do wish like Sandy was in it a little bit more, or Mrs. Puff. But the thing is, though, if Sandy went with him on the adventure, Sandy would have it all under control and just beat the shit out of everyone. You know what I'm saying? So I understand why they kind of wrote her out of it, but I do wish she was in it more, just because I love Sandy.
Yeah. It has to be SpongeBob and Patrick on the adventure because they're both a certain level of dumb that's very fun to watch.
And they have, weirdly enough, the most like emotional growth to make.
Okay, let's do shouties, Chris.
Okay. Shouty to that.
What are shouties?
Oh,
I'm gonna make you do it every time. Like I don't.
All right, guys, let's talk about. All right, guys, let's share our shouties. The moment where we talk about little moments. Oh fuck! Well, how do I even say it? I don't even remember.
You lost it. No.
Yeah, I guess people are gonna have to wonder what shouties are.
Okay, yeah, there's just basically honorable mentions because Chris just can't fucking remember his one job.
Yeah, this is my one job. That's it.
You had one job. All right, Chris, what's your first shouty?
First shouty is to that rough and tough bar that they went by, where all these big muscular dudes are playing pool and they're playing Motorhead in the background. I always just appreciated that they played Motorhead. I thought that was pretty funny. And I like that a guy was eating a bowl of nails straight up. It was like a little reference to the salty spittoon.
Well, in that bar I have two shouties. One is those two guys just slapping each other. And then the other is they're both in the bathroom trying to figure out what they're going to do to get that spatula. And then suddenly they're like, Patrick, look, bubble party.
And they're doing and how fucking stupid they act too while they're celebrating the bubble party. They're like, woohoo, and then it cuts to Patrick going, nya, nya, nya.
Well, okay, that perfectly leads into my next shouty. In this movie, and SpongeBob did a lot of this in general, but I guess if we're talking about this movie, they do a lot of moments where their teeth will change based on the emotion, like when they're doting and like when Patrick sees like Mindy and he becomes very flustered. He does and then his teeth are like he has major gap teeth. You know?
Shouty to Patrick's attraction to Mindy too, when he's like, "You're hot."
Voiced by Scarlett Johansson.
When he's like, "Did you see my underwear?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "Did you want to?"
All right, what's your next shouty?
Next shouty is let's see. I'm trying to think of what, like, there's so many little moments I don't want to just fly through, shit. I'm kind of blanking out.
You don't write them down?
No, man, I never do.
Okay. Well, I have one where it's Plankton's flustered. He's like, I don't know what to do anymore. They've opened up another Krusty Krab. All my plans have failed. I've tried everything. A to Y.
Oh, yeah.
And Garrett's like, it's A to Z. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, A to Z. And he's like, Plan Z. Like, there's a whole nother plan that he's never tried.
Shouty to the Now That We're Men song. Me and my friends used to sing that together at school. That whole sequence is great, when it suddenly turns into like some Gene Kelly movie.
Well, the animation of it is so wonderful. Like seeing those big monsters,
Oh yeah.
It's the moment where they're holding him at the palm of their hand and SpongeBob and Patrick are doing the tap dance knee slapping thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and they win over the friendship of all the deep sea monsters because they have the confidence to do so, even though nothing happened to them. They just have mustaches made of kelp.
It's about like their confidence again.
It's like on Space Jam, when Michael Jordan gives all the Looney Tunes water.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I think that's it.
Yeah. I think so too.
I think I just want to mention we're going to start doing this at the end of each episode, announcing ahead of time the next movie we're going to be covering. Chris, do you want to say the next movie we're going to be covering on the podcast?
Yeah, guys. Next week, we're going to be talking about Harold and Maude, the cult classic from the 70s. If you haven't seen it, now would be a great time to check it out between now and next Monday, so you can, get to the next episode and hear us talk about it. We fucking love Harold and Maude. We're excited to get to it.
We're trying to stick with a theme of like loss of innocence or just growing up and SpongeBob is a part of that. Iron Giant's a part of that. Harold and Maude is a part of that.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much to our patrons for supporting us again and again. We really appreciate it. Last but not least, stay nice, dudes.